Hello, I am Edward Peake, and this is the National Airsoft Festival, the biggest airsoft event in the UK. The airsoft you can see me using at the moment in this video is completely 3D printed outside of all of the internals, which obviously I couldn't yet 3D print. The National Airsoft Festival, or NAF for short, has been called a bit, well, naff. There is a controversial rumour that you don't go to NAF to play airsoft, which is a bit of a strange thing to say about a festival, which main focus is, of course, airsoft. So is there any truth to that statement? Well, I'll get onto that in a little bit. But first, let's play some airsoft with our 3D printed Mosquito Beta 2, freshly assembled by our airsoft tech Gun Bunny. Now before I get to the segment where I talk about the airsoft elephant in the room, I would like you to just comment what you think the problem may be, as whilst you're watching these clips, it'll probably become pretty damn obvious.
Hit! Oh shit.
Very glad I had a lens on that one, that would have been very expensive. If you would like a closer look at the 3D printed airsoft and why I think it's better than the traditional airsoft, you can find that here. But that wasn't the only setup I had for this festival, I also went for a terrible one at the same time. And yes, I am wearing a full-length monk's robe made of polyester, because I'm too cheap to buy a proper one, and let me tell you, during a heatwave, that is not a good idea.
Moving into chapel, I need it. I'm at the chapel. Hit!
That was one of those times where you're like, I definitely probably hit him, but I tend to walk away in those scenarios because I just don't argue at airsoft.
Shit! That's right. My bad. My bad.
I don't know if you caught that, but that was very painful. Not really their fault. I walked around the corner, they could have not saw me, they could have been aiming at something else. However, being fully autoed in the head with no protection really stings. But yet again, there's no point getting angry. It's not going to change anything, so I just walked off. They went so badly that day.
To no one's surprise, I was exhausted and boiling. So,
indeed.
So we're not doing the priest thing for the minute, or at least not the whole get up, because I'll die if I do that. So yeah, we're going to go back out with the Mosquito, which is going to be the lightest thing I own. We're going to go from there, and hopefully I won't die from exhaustion. Nice, thank you. Yeah, we got people. So basically, right at the end where the bush, well, not where the bush is, because that's not very useful, but where the light is in the clearing, they're popping out from there. Blue on your left. Oh wait, mate.
Hey, dude.
How's it going? Yeah, there's a guy coming up from there, right?
Here.
A commander?
Yeah.
Do you know there's a commander here?
What does that mean?
I don't know, there's a commander here though.
Is he invincible?
He's not about to be.
Can't we capture him?
We still shoot him, right?
Yeah.
Well, let's fucking rush him.
Yeah, where, let's,
He's in this corner here.
what, just there?
Now we're here, okay.
Push forward then. Push forward then.
Okay. Down the end. It's through the bushes, but they're definitely there. Let's go. Oh, this is shit. Other way. Nothing, and then retry it. Yeah, they're definitely down that end there.
I'm going to mute this segment because it's a bit embarrassing for everyone involved, but there is an argument going on between the marshals and a player. The level of salt began to rise very rapidly at this warm weekend, so Airsoft Noob made an executive decision.
Let's move on.
Walk away.
Boring. Boring.
Okay, shall I get into the problems, or do you want to watch me walk through bushes for the next 10 minutes? Because I've got plenty of footage of that. I witnessed a lot of arguments between players and players, between players and marshals. It wasn't always a great atmosphere because of this. And here's my theory for why everyone is so pissed off. No one knows what the fuck is going on. The rules are on the website, but if you didn't read that, or you weren't there for the briefing, or you haven't got up on your phone to check, very easy to not know what they are. Same for the gameplay. There were marshals that were also VIPs / commanders, so sometimes a person wearing a high vis may be shooting at you and you may be shooting at them. No one seemed to know what the difference was or how that was designated. I believe it was if they were wearing a different colour of high vis or they put one on their head or something, that's how they told you whether they were marshalling or being a commander. Needless to say, it could be confusing. As that conversation between a group of us just then showed, no one really knew. Actually, now that I think about it, I think that commander was actually our commander, so us shooting them would have been bad. I think that's the problem when you've got that many people on the field. Bearing in mind that this event could have 3,000 people at it, you got to keep it simple. And on the subject of people not knowing what the fuck was going on, if you don't know the site or have a printed out copy of the map, which still, when you're in a bush, is quite hard to figure out, you're probably going to get lost. Which leads me on to the thing I hate most about Airsoft at any event, and it's the aimless walking around. Walking for 10 minutes, not really knowing what's going on, and then getting yeeted from a bush, not much fun. Especially when it's your own teammate. Also, when you find people casually walking around, not knowing what's going on, the enemy team may or may not know if they are playing, which then just means one of them is going to be either annoyed because they've been shot and they thought that they were dead, or they are annoyed because they are dead and they've been shot. This happened a fair bit. Like I mentioned before, this event could have 3,000 people at it. Now, obviously, they're not all going to be playing at exactly the same time as people drift on and off the field to get food or do whatever. However, there will still be a lot of people playing at one time, which is a lot to handle as a site. And it's very hard to have the right amount of marshals to be watching everything that's going on, and it is pretty much impossible to do so. Which is why we also experienced a vast and ridiculous amount of cheating. Annoyingly, I only pressed record after this incident was pretty much already over because we were just standing around and we didn't assume anything was going to happen, but I just about caught the guy walking into the bush. And to put it in perspective, they were all just stood around in the centre of the path. Everyone fully autoed into them, and they just strolled into the bush like they were going to play.
You must have hit one of them.
I'm not being funny, right, but we were all just full auto and then none of them took their hits.
I don't know if they were already dead or not.
Nah, they started fucking walking in as if they were going to play.
Yeah.
That's fucking it.
Right, we got guys ahead of us minding this path. We just sprayed a bunch of them and then they walked off casually, so they could either be dead or they could still be playing, we never know.
We'll find out.
Right.
Let's all find out.
Let's all find out together. Yeah. Be a learning experience.
Oh no, my weapon's on full auto.
My weapon's on full auto.
There were other instances as well, but this was one of the most obvious ones. We very clearly took them out, and they just chose to ignore it, and nothing was stopping them from doing that. And yet again, adds to the amount of salt. Now, because of the challenging amount of people that could be playing at one time, you also need a site that's going to be able to cater for this. Because, like I mentioned before, if you've got a tunnel or a corridor, and there are 20 people trying to play on the corridor, they're not all going to be able to play at the same time. Which is why you see a lot of people standing around, as the site naturally, there's nothing you can do about this, doesn't have that much wide open space where you can see for quite a distance. Most of it consists of a lot of trees and bushes and corridors, which limits gameplay when you've got that many people. Granted, there are a multitude of different bushy corridors and areas that you could go around and different routes you could take, but when you've got a lot of people, they're all pretty saturated. But it could also go the other way, whereas people just sort of got tired or couldn't be bothered and one team's got more enthusiasm than the other. Like this interview from Airsoft Noob has shown.
Second day, we were kind of a bit like, where is everyone? So we formed a little squad, walked around blaring heavy metal music, shouting into the bushes, trying to goad people into fight.
In fact, now that I think about it, I was actually there that year, and I think I can remember the group doing this. Now, it might seem like I just spent 3 minutes and 50 seconds slagging off the event. I actually really do enjoy the event, and I want there to be more like it on this scale. It's a lot of fun to go to this and be around this many other people in the hobby. It's a brilliant event in that way. Not all of the fun is had on the field. A lot of it is sitting around and meeting and drinking with people. Maybe not for me because I'm sober, but everyone else seemed to be doing it. They have a local band playing. It's a good time, generally speaking. Now, especially if you go with a group of you, you can have an excellent time. The first year I actually went on my own. I still enjoyed it, but yeah, the airsoft gameplay was challenging at points. I think the most fun that we had at the event wasn't even on the field. It was taking Marcus the Worm around and just putting him in front of people and making them interact with him. And if you want to see that video, you can see that here. I still think it's the funniest thing I've ever made. YouTube's hiding it though because he looks like a phallus. In conclusion, should you go to the UK's biggest airsoft event? Yes, I still think you should, even if the airsoft isn't perfectly run and amazing. It's still fun. You still have that many people to play with and that many people to meet. There's loads of stalls that you can go and buy stuff at and meet the people that own those companies. We had a great time going around and talking to people at those various company stalls with Marcus the Worm. Isn't all about the on-field airsoft. But here's the thing, I think it's going to get a lot better. Me and my group that went actually released a podcast discussing how it went and the various issues that we saw, a lot more in depth than the brief overview I've given here. And after posting that, we were actually contacted by some of the organisers of the event. So they are open to criticism and they are open to feedback. So I am very hopeful that the next NAF is going to be even better than this year. It's a hard thing to run an event on that scale with that many people, and they are doing a terrific job as it is. With anything, I'm sure most of the problems and perhaps lack of marshals is just due down to the financial side of things. It's expensive to run something like that. And I am not pretending I could do a better job. I know I couldn't. This has just been a very blunt and honest account of my experience. And my key points to take away from this have simply been information. Give information more often, written down, obvious, maps everywhere, signposts everywhere, make it easy for the masses to know what's going on. If there's a special mission, have it in writing. Have a mission board, have it so it's obvious and clear and where to go and what to do. Keep everyone fighting and keep it so it's obvious that everyone is in play. If that means releasing players in waves or releasing them in different areas or having multiple bases from the same team, I don't know. But it's got to be obvious that when you enter the field, everyone you see is playing. It's been a lot of fun making content around this event, and I have made a lot of content, so there's plenty of links everywhere for that, and I will see you all very soon. Like, smash button and whatnot, press other buttons, yes. I have tremendously good outros. Anyway, see you soon.